This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, October 29th. Please stand for the invocation led by Father Dan Good and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. God our Father, we ask you to please be with the leaders of our city and the people of our city. We ask that you would pour forth a spirit of justice, of mercy, and peace. We ask that you will continue to bless this city and prosper it and be with each of us. We pray this all in the name of your Son, Jesus, who is Lord forever and ever. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. President Small.
Here.
Vice President Gregory. Here. Councilmember Penn.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll. Councilmember Reynolds.
Here.
Councilmember Daves. Councilmember Woods.
Here.
Statement of rules.
And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's good to see everyone this morning. Welcome to our October 29th, 2024 meeting. At this meeting, we do have rules. At this time, I ask if anyone have any type of electronic devices, including cell phones, please at this time put on the off of the vibrate position, the off of the vibrate position. Any person that is desiring to address the council, sign in indicating the resolution, ordinance, appeal, or public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, the speaker must give his or her name. Any person that is desiring to address the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk office no later than 2:00 p.m. the Thursday prior to the council meeting. The subject that he or she wishes to, especially Mobile City Council, must be identified pertaining to the city of Mobile business. Anyone who has not given proper notice to the city clerk office and wishes to speak on a non-agenda item will not be allowed to address this council. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 2 minutes. 1 minute remains for summarizing. The second bell indicates that your time has expired. When addressing the council, there will be no personal address to any individual council members. All statements are to be made to the chair, who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause and or public outcry allowed. Madam Clerk.
Approval of minutes of October 22nd.
So moved. Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes approved.
Communications from Mayor Stimpson.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good to see everyone this morning. I want to change it up just a little bit of how we typically do things, and I'd ask Joe Snowden to do the administrative services so we're not going to do that, okay? I just found that out. So we're not changing up. We'll go back to the original script. Glad I know that on the front end. Okay, so my announcements include that it's National Diabetes Month, and our Community Affairs Department is partnering with USA Health, the Franklin Primary Health Clinic, Mobile Infirmary, and others to host a National Diabetes Month event. The event's going to be held at Seals Community Center on November 12th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Event attendees will learn more about the resources that are available to them and also how to take steps toward healthy habits and how to best manage your health. Lunch will be provided as long as the food lasts. And that's made possible by our sponsor, Novo Nordisk. Monday, October 28th, was National First Responders Day. We're speaking about first responders almost every single time we have a city council meeting, expressing our appreciation for all that they do and the things that they do to make our community a safer city. And that includes not just those that are in uniform, but also the dispatchers, people that you seldom see that behind the scenes are making things work. But for all of our people that are involved with first responders, we have a tremendous appreciation for. So if you see a policeman, a fireman, or someone that works in those departments, please express your gratitude to them individually, because it's most appreciated, because so many of them will not hear the remarks that are made in this chamber. And so please step out and say something to them. This past weekend, the Mobile Museum of Art held an incredible party. Saturday night, I see a couple of people in the audience who were there. They were dressed up in 1960s garb, or fashionable clothing, if that would be another way to say it. The clothing was pretty colorful in the early 1960s, but it was the 60th birthday bash, and the reason it was because it was 60 years ago that the art museum opened up. And I would say that the party was a smashing success. There were hundreds of Mobilians there that celebrated 6 incredible decades of art at the museum. Executive Director John Carfagno and his entire team really spent the last couple of years planning all this. They had a band that was not only looked like the Beatles, they sounded like the Beatles, and there was a lot of fun. Somebody said the mayor was there dressed up like a Beatle and nobody recognized him. They didn't have much imagination. Okay, but we do thank John and his team for this special event, because it's one of those small things about quality of life, things to do, and to express appreciation for all that goes on in the city of Mobile. Right now, there's a 1960, what they're referring to as a new exhibit. And it's the 1960s hard edge and op art, and it's a tribute to the responsive eye. This Saturday, on Saturday, November 9th, not this coming Saturday, but Saturday week, the museum's going to host a family-friendly 60th anniversary celebration from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And it's a free day of activities, primarily for children, but it's a petting zoo, live music, food trucks, art classes, and a time capsule burial will also occur. And it's free admission all day to the museum. And you'll also have an opportunity to explore all the galleries and see all the art that's there. This is the art exhibit that's there today is spectacular. I mean, it's modern. I would refer to it as modern art, but it's something that you really should go see. They have spent a tremendous amount of time collecting this art from all over the country, and it leaves here and will actually go to a couple more locations, but it's pretty amazing. So, Mr. President, that would conclude my remarks.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Today I have the honor to present a proclamation to an amazing church. Can Father Ken, Colby, and Rodney Durgans come down? They're here. I'm good. Whereas the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd will celebrate 170 years, I'm going to say it again, 170 years anniversary on Sunday, November the 3rd, 2024. And whereas the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd holds a significant importance as one of the oldest historically Black congregations in the country, and it's in District 1, and it's the oldest Black congregation in the state of Alabama, and the 44th oldest in the city of Mobile. It was founded in 1854 by 7 enslaved and free men and women under the support and guidance of the Trinity and Christ Church of Mobile. And whereas the first place of worship was open for divine service in 1855, from there the church relocated in 1884 to State and Warren Street, and remained until the present location was erected in the Tomerville area in 1964. During those years, the church fostered several day schools, 2 missions, and absorbed parishioners from the Congregational Church in the area known as Down the Bay. And whereas now, 170 years its founding, the church of the Good Shepherd is an active member of the Diocese of the Central of Gulf Coast and the City of Mobile. The parishioners of the Church of the Good Shepherd continue to guide and support, love, and serve, giving thanks to God for its rich heritage. Now, therefore, I, Corey Penn, council member of District 1, and with the members of the Mobile City Council, recognize and celebrate the 170th year church anniversary for the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd in Mobile, and we urge all citizens to join us done this day on the 29th of October, 2024. Can we give them a big hand for amazing service for 170 years? Father, would you like to say anything? No. I want you to be there, son. I was coming.
I would like to say congratulations and very aware of the church and all the activities that they do throughout the community, especially in the Tomerville community. Matter of fact, I grew up around the corner from the church. Congratulations, and that's a long time for 170 years there.
Monthly finance report.
Good morning, Mayor Stinson, President Small, members of council. I have before you the October 29, 24 finance report for the city of Mobile. This is an unaudited report. As you're aware, the fiscal year ends on September 30. We're in the process of closing the month of September, so the information we have before you is simply an overview. We should have the closed month of September by early December. With that, our total fiscal 2024 operating revenue was $450,536,624. Operating revenue to the general fund was $353,909,544, and operating revenue to the capital program was $61,627,080. The operating expenses of the general fund were $350,693,156. There was an operating transfer to the capital fund from operating of $6,420,000. You may recall that was approved in the 2024 operating budget that was adopted 1 year ago. Capital fund operating expenses for the year were $55,436,551, and capital fund encumbrances were $106,935,458. The encumbrances are items where there is cash on hand. We've allocated those dollars for specific projects that you previously approved in CIP and the capital budget. The unassigned fund balance on September 30, 2024 was $118,512,785. The breakdown of the unassigned fund balance is a 2-month reserve. The 2-month reserve is the amount of $58,976,400. That 2-month reserve is the 16.66% that you're accustomed to hearing for the reserve. It also includes the 2% Zogby Act reserve. Both of those are included in the $58 million. The unallocated and internal service funds included in the unassigned fund balance are $59,536,385. Again, these are unaudited, and once we get the audit, we'll be able to obviously identify specifically what those are, and once we close September, we'll know for sure what those dollars are, but we believe these are substantially close to where we are for fiscal year 24. Some updates that we have for you. You may recall that we sent an email a couple of weeks ago for a top 5 projects list. The staff and I are in the process of reviewing those projects list. We have our final meeting on that this week on Friday. We'll make a presentation to the mayor on Monday and then follow up with all of you for an update on your top 5 list. Not only what we think we can accomplish in the next 12 months, but what your status is for the projects that you specifically listed in your request. We do have some upcoming financial matters to address.
Get a little bit closer to the mic.
Yes, sir. We do have some, apologize, first time. We do have some upcoming financial matters to be considered by the City Council. The first is a reserve funds ordinance. As you're aware, we'll be going to the market for a bond issue in early 2025. The reserve fund ordinance will be important as a part of the bond rating. About 25% of our bond rating comes from our reserve funds, as they're designated in a reserve fund that's codified or included in the municipal code. There will be no change in the value of the reserve fund. It will just simply be a part of the municipal code as identifying what the reserve fund is, this 16.66% specifically. Again, no change in the dollar value. It's just codifying that 2-month reserve. We will also present to you a bond issue reimbursement resolution. When we go to market for the bonds for the Civic Center, there may be dollars that have been spent on the Civic Center that you want to reimburse to the city. The way that you do that is through a reimbursement resolution. You would adopt that prior to the issuance of the bonds, so that when bond proceeds are received, if you want to reimburse yourself for those dollars, you can through those bond proceeds once you receive those. That has to be done by resolution first. You don't have to identify the amount. You just have to authorize yourself to reimburse yourself for eligible expenses that would have been paid with the bond issue. Lastly, we have some some budget amendments that will be coming your way for 2025. These will come along in the spring of 2025, we think, if not a little sooner. The first is we'll have to amend the budget to recognize the bond proceeds. When we issue the bonds and those come in, we'll need to adjust or amend the 2025 budget so you can recognize the bond proceeds coming into the city so they can be expended on the Civic Center. The second will be amending the budget so that we can identify the bond payments for fiscal year 2025. We don't know if that will be interest only or interest and principal, but we'll identify those once we issue the bonds themselves and have that calendar. We'll also have to reallocate the interest income. There was a question at the budget presentation about interest income for what that looked like for 2025 and what do we do with the interest earned on the bond proceeds. Once we receive those dollars, we'll have to do an amendment to the budget so we can record that additional interest and then allocate it to the debt payment that we'll have in 2025. So that will be money in, money out, but it will require a budget amendment to recognize that revenue and expense. And lastly, we'll have roughly a handful of operating amendments that we'll need to present. There are some items that take place during the year that just transcend or cross over budget years. You have some projects underway on the operating side that are underway in 2024 or any fiscal year for that matter that roll over into the next year. So we'll have a few smaller budget amendments just to recognize projects that took place that crossed over the October 1 operating deadline for the budgets. So with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions at all I can.
One thing, is it possible for us to get a copy of that report that you were speaking of?
Sir?
Give the council a copy of the report?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from this council?
Mr. President,
Mr. Carroll.
it sounds like the schedule is pretty aggressive as far as getting these things done. What is the initiation date for us to start this process? Or have y'all already started it? And if so, where are you within the process?
So we've already started. Obviously, as it relates to the ordinances and resolutions that you have coming for you, I've already drafted those. Those will go to the mayor's office and the city attorney's office this week. Mm-hmm. It will take a couple of weeks for their review to get that to you. Our hope is that we would have those complete by the end of December. We certainly want to have those done before we get to January and any bond issue discussion takes place. But ordinances and resolutions specific to the reserve and the reimbursement we'll have to you before the end of the year complete.
So we're looking to go to the market in January?
So market, as we go to the bond market, there'll be a little bit of coordination with the, when we get the bids back on the Civic Center. Mm-hmm. What we didn't want to do is get ahead of ourselves and go to bond market too soon or too late without having the bids themselves. It's my understanding that we're looking right now at a late January, early February bid opening, depending on what that schedule is. Mm-hmm. The bond process is already teed up. We're already working with all of our partners on the bond process to understand what that is. We'll have everything ready to go to market except for the value. So once the bids are opened and those bids are approved by the city council, that will be the final piece of the puzzle. We will instantly go to market. We anticipate 2-week timeline from bid opening to receipt of bond funds.
Mr. President.
Are you done, Mr. Carroll?
Yeah, it was just a legal thought, but I'm pretty sure that legal's already considered that. In the past, all municipal projects, before they bid, finances had to be in place for the project. And this may be just an issue, that the finances are predetermined to be in the project based on the fact that we don't know the actual hard cost, and that we actually won't start construction until we have all monies in the project are in place. That was, my only thought there, and I'm pretty sure that legal has already thought their way through that and made sure that we have the proper procedure in place.
Yes, sir. The goal would be, I say the goal, the process as we sit here today is everything for the bond issue itself will be teed up except for the value. That project will go to bid. We'll get those bids back. Once we get the bids back, we instantly go to the bond market. Those proceeds will be available. Once those proceeds are available, then we would request that you contract with that. So the sequence would be bids, bond, market, delivery of bond proceeds, execution of contract.
Mr. Penn?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted some clarification for the 2024 year. That it says operating revenue for capital, $61 million. What
Yes,
that
sir.
represents what we had left over?
No, sir. What that is on the CIP and on the capital funding, the way your sales tax is broken up is we're on 5-cent sales tax. 4 cents goes to operating for the general fund. 1 cent goes to capital and CIP. So what you see on the operating fund for capital is their 1 cent, the 1 cent that goes to capital, plus the other smaller sources of funds that they have.
So how much did we were like for the 2024? Because I know we had some good months.
Yes, sir.
Is it somewhere listed on here showing that amount for the total that we like under budget for the total, like the assets amount that we have for each month total for the whole year?
No, sir, not on this. I can provide this to you.
Okay.
Again, I'll be glad to get that to you. That will be simple to produce.
Okay.
We simply were looking at this from haven't closed September yet, so we weren't exactly sure on those numbers. So we were trying to give you the level, but I can certainly get you that information.
Okay. And those numbers will be a part of the unassigned fund balance, right?
No, sir.
Okay. So those two separate.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay.
So unassigned fund balance is exactly that. Unassigned fund balance. It's your reserve fund, and the leftover operating dollars will be available to the city
So those funds, where does those funds go that we have
in the bank.
back into the general fund?
Yes, sir. They're just held in cash unassigned. They do go back to the general fund, but it's money that you have available. They're not assigned to any specific cost or operation.
Okay. And the reserve fund ordinance, is that only for the 2-month reserve?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Mr. Reynolds?
On the 2025 bond issue reimburse resolution that you discussed, that would come after the bond is issued, and then there's a transfer that could or may happen to reimburse us for the cash contributions we've already made to, say, the parking garage. Am I understanding that correctly?
So
Is that the idea?
It would be specific to the Civic Center, project. So let's say we've spent $500,000 on design on a Civic Center item, and you want to reimburse yourself that cost. Then you can pass a resolution that says we've paid this $500,000 before the bond proceeds were delivered. We want to refund ourselves that $500,000 as part of the Civic Center project. You can do that.
So that would essentially mean financing the full cost of the Civic
Yeah,
Center.
if you chose to do so.
Okay.
And there's no suggestion that you would or would not do that. You just want to give yourself the ability to do that. And then once you put the business plan together, determine what's in the best interest from your cash position.
And then we're going to have to make some additional cash contributions to the Civic Center. Is that correct?
We think, obviously, when the bids come back, we'll know that. There was some discussion for that to take place. Once we get the bids back and we understand fully what that value is, then we'll know for sure.
I guess we'll have that discussion at a later date, I'm sure, about the advantage of say taking on additional debt versus just paying out our portion in cash. I guess we'll have that discussion at a later date. But I do want to say thank you for putting this together, this sheet like this. It's much more readable from my perspective. So thank you.
Yes, sir. You're very welcome.
Mr. President,
Mr. Carroll.
based on what I'm hearing, we could probably sit here for 3 hours because there are a whole lot more questions when we're talking about the bond issue. I guess I'm going to ask the administration if this is going to be ready soon, if we could get it out to the council and get it into committee so that we can ask all the questions we want in a timely manner so that we can get this pressed out. The finance chair sitting right here next to me, and I'm asking him also to ask you guys to get it to us in a really quick manner so that hopefully we can go through this before the holidays hit us in December, if you know what I mean, and have it ready, or first week in January, if that's possible for you guys.
Yes, sir. The schedule right now is we're working on a preliminary official statement. There's some behind the scenes work that has to be done on the bond issue itself. We received that from bond counsel. We're working on that now. We're probably a month away from that. By that time, we'll have enough information that we can present a couple of opportunities for what we think the project will cost and what your cash flow will be, bond issue and cash on hand.
Yeah, other question. The last bond issue we did, I thought this had to be voted on before we go into a bond issue by the RDA. Is that step still required? Because I thought, when the city goes into an obligation, the redevelopment authority is the one that votes that out. Have we done that stuff yet? I mean, we did it with the Alston bonds. We did it with the bond for Macy Place.
This would be separate from the redevelopment authority. This is a city Mobile specific project, so you would not be required to go through.
We're not required to go through that stuff.
Mr. President,
Mr. Days.
just as soon as you're ready to bring this before the Finance Committee, if you'd let me know, a week or so in advance so we can go ahead and get the committee meeting scheduled. Because
Yes,
I think this is something that needs to be taken up in committee rather than in the city council.
Yes, sir. Be glad to.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you so much. Madam Clerk?
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
And properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals. We have requests for a waiver of the noise ordinance at 1131 Dolphin Island Parkway on February 2nd from 11:30 a.m. until 11 p.m.
Let's just change that time to 10 o'clock p.m. So move.
Second.
Properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item pass.
We have requests for waivers of the noise ordinance at Seals Park on November 3rd from 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. at 254 St. Anthony Street on March 2nd from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. and at 254 St. Anthony Street on March 4th from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
And properly moved and second in the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
Public hearings. Today is the public hearing to declare the structures at 611 Ivis Avenue, 1210 Alba Street, 1315 Brook Avenue, 2054, also known as 2056 Buckrow Road South, 2377 Sanssouci Road, 809 South Washington Avenue, and 2306 Dog River Drive public nuisances and ordering them demolished.
This opened up the public hearings for these particular said item. Is anyone present to speak on these items? If so, you need to come down to the podium by stating your name.
Good morning. My name is Lloyd Bella. I'm here translating for Mrs. Carolina Aquino, and her husband is Elmer Aquino. They're owners of the property at 2377 Sanssouci. I'm going to try to do a direct translation if I can.
Okay. So what is you all really asking for? I mean,
¿Qué pregunta qué es lo que están pidiendo? Mrs.
get a
Aquino,
bit closer to the mic. Yeah.
okay. Mrs. Aquino would like time to repair the house.
Would 60 days be good enough
Pregunta que si 60 días es
to at least get a
suficiente
permit? Yeah.
para recibir el permiso y comenzar el trabajo. Yes, it would be.
Okay. I advise you all to, after the meeting, to talk to the guy that's on top, and he will speak to you all and let you know the proper process. But we'll revisit this back in 60 days, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Is anyone else present that would like to address the council on any of these items? If not, these particular public hearings is closed.
Public hearing to consider assenting to the vacation of an alley adjacent to property located at 1001 through 1003 Oak Street.
This opened up the public hearing for this particular said item. Is anyone present that would like to address the council on this item? If not, this particular public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to determine whether the downtown Mobile Business Improvement District should be continued, modified, or terminated.
This opened up the public hearing for this particular said item. Is anyone present that would like to address the council? If so, you need to come down to the podium by stating your name.
Good morning. My name is Gray Reddit. I'm a lawyer with Maynard Nexon. I'm here today on behalf of the Archdiocese of Mobile and the Cathedral Parish downtown. I have with me today Monsignor Bill Skonecki, who is the rector of the cathedral. We are here to ask that in the council's consideration of the renewal of the BID assessments, that an exemption be granted to the 3 churches downtown within the BID district area. Alabama law has long recognized, and its policy has recognized, that churches really should not be taxed. And in fact, enshrined in Alabama's Constitution is a prohibition against property taxes on churches. Now, the case law says that assessments such as this really aren't considered technically taxes, but when you look at it, you know, in practice and in effect, they are a tax on the church. They are it is an assessment against the church based on the value of their property, and it's a required payment to a quasi-governmental entity. Now, when the BID ordinance was considered many years ago, we all remember what downtown Mobile was like. The property values were depressed. The assessments under the BID were really fairly nominal. That's not the case today. But downtown Mobile is booming. The property values have skyrocketed. Every year, the tax assessor increases the property values. And concurrently with that, our assessments have skyrocketed. When you look at the churches downtown, you'll see that they are all large, old, historic structures which are incredibly expensive to maintain. We believe that the church's maintenance of these, though, provides a major benefit to the downtown district. Downtown churches don't have the large congregations that suburban churches have, and so you have these buildings with huge expenses being supported by a declining congregation base, and so it results in essentially a tax on the people's ties to their church. We've seen dwindling congregations downtown Mobile over the years. We've seen, as a result of that, churches have had to close downtown because their congregations have dwindled to the point that they can no longer support the operation of the churches. Now, I'm not suggesting that the 3 remaining churches are about to close, but I do think it demonstrates the difficulties these churches have in maintaining and sustaining their downtown ministries. We believe these churches are important assets to the business district downtown, but they are not businesses. They are not income-generating properties, and as a result, we believe that they should be exempt from the assessment under the ordinance. So we would ask that either the ordinance be amended to provide in the exemption sections an additional exemption for churches, or to redefine the BID boundaries to exclude the church properties. Thank you.
Question.
Mr. Carroll.
Question. Are we talking about the church itself, or are we talking about the multiple properties that the church owns downtown that are revenue generating?
Revenue generating properties would not be included. I mean, they should not be exempt. The properties that should be exempt are the sanctuaries, the parish halls, the church offices, the supporting offices for the churches.
That's 5 buildings alone downtown for the cathedral itself. I mean, because that's the McGill building, that's the cathedral, that's the house across the street, and 2 other spots. The other question is that when you say that the church doesn't gain any revenue, but don't all the other parishes give a portion to the cathedral? Does that not work that way?
Well, there is a tax which goes to the operation of the archdiocese as a whole, but it's not to support the downtown properties as such.
Okay. There is in historic districts where older people are living, where the districts improve themselves and surrounding properties go from $100,000 to $600,000, and it drives the property values so high that the existing people can't afford to pay the increasing property tax. And I think there's state legislation that allows for older people, that I'm talking about single family residential properties, where that property tax is fixed. I need to go back and look that up, but it may be a compromise to where the church's current assessment, if not excluded, is fixed to where it does not increase as the rising property values increase downtown. And what I mean by that is that I watched the block around the cathedral go from a value of $2 million to maybe $100 million, which drives the assessment up for everybody. But if there was a fixed assessment where the property value didn't increase for the church sanctuary itself, that may be a compromise to not participating in the bid at all, because in my mind, and forgive me, I am Catholic, very Catholic. I mean, I grew up, altar boy, the whole thing, you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is that the church itself, it benefits from the bid, and to
No
not
question.
to be a participant in it would be hard, especially when, on Sunday mornings they're rushing down there to make sure that whole thoroughfare is clean, so the experience for the parishioners is the way it is. I think that there should be some type of participation, but at the same, I think that we may be able, if we look into it, to see if there's a compromise there with some type of fixed assessment to where it doesn't grow as the values of the surrounding downtown increase so much that it hurts the church itself. And I'm talking about for all the sanctuaries.
I agree. That would certainly be something worth looking at. So.
Let's see if we can't take a look at that in the next week, Paul, before we pass that, to see if it's viable with you, their attorney, and also the bid, Mr. Renfrey. Thank you.
And I think it would depend on where you fix the value at, what year you use to fix the tax value.
In my mind, I would be thinking the current year, but I'm not a lawyer. I'm just thinking my way through this, and if it's a way to help everybody, I'd like to do that. So if we could get together with Monsignor Skonecki, Vice Vicar, and you and Paul and Fred and maybe one of the other city attorneys, and make sure that if we can make that work, then let's try to do it. Because we do benefit from what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds.
I'd like to also put out the point that downtown benefits substantially by way of these beautiful structures being in downtown. So it's a mutual relationship that exists there. But, Cathedral Square would not be what it is today if it wasn't for that beautiful cathedral sitting at the head of it. So something to consider as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Harwell Cole, and I've been a member of Christ Church Cathedral for 84 years, and I'm currently serving as their chancellor and attorney. First of all, I fully agree with and support the points Mr. Reddick has already made, and I would just like to emphasize a few things. First of all, the ordinance itself is entitled Downtown Mobile Business Improvement District, relating to the creation of a self-help business improvement district to provide supplemental services within the district. The very title of it emphasizes the term business. Now, churches are not businesses. They don't charge for their services. They're free. And the only thing we serve is God. So it seems to me, if you're not to disagree with your point earlier about something, but if you're looking at the statute itself or the ordinance, it doesn't really make sense to include churches. Now, you say we benefit. Yes, we benefit in the sense of keeping the properties clean, but we also serve the community, the downtown community. Anyone is welcome to come into these churches at any time. So I would just like to emphasize, if you're really trying to do what is right and fair, the churches should be exempt. Now, they call it an assessment, but the basis of the assessment is the ad valorem tax value. Now, churches, why would you set a value on a church? The only reason I know of to set a value would be to tax it. That's what the city tax office does. It sets the value, and from that, it's determined on the ad valorem tax values that are paid. Now, this ordinance provides for an exemption. Mr. Reddick pointed it out. It's for single-family dwellings, residential dwellings. The same reason applies to that exemption. They're not a business. They don't charge for their services. They simply have their families living there. That's it. So even though you could make an argument that something should be paid, I would like to have you address the fairness of even including churches in the first place and adding them to the exemption. Now, just to address the point made earlier about the values, in 2019, Christ Church had a value, according to the bid office, of $500,800. In 2020, they adjusted it to $2,627,300, and it's gone up every year since then. So there's no limit. I still go back to my initial point, and that is that we believe at Christ Church, and we've been there a long time, since 1837, that the churches in downtown Mobile that are currently covered by the bid should be exempt in Section 6. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Bradley Byrne. I'm the President and CEO of the Mobile Chamber of Commerce. First of all, let me thank you for your service. I know I've been down here a lot this year. Together, we've accomplished a lot, and we're not done yet. You've already taken some very important steps on behalf of downtown Mobile to include the new Civic Center, a new hotel on the riverfront. We're on a roll. The Business Improvement District, which the Mobile Chamber was one of the initial proponents for, is a part of that overall effort to move downtown Mobile forward. We strongly support that. Why? Why does the business community care about that? Let me first of all say, I would defer to my fellow members of the bar with regard to the issue that they rose, which has nothing to do with the business community. It has to do with the ecclesiastical community. We care about it because it's a major attractor for business and industry here. We care about it because it's a major attractor for young people to move here and our young people that already live here to stay here. Downtown is a huge deal to them. I'll give you one anecdote. 2 years ago, right after I took this position with the chamber, I went around to visit some of the major businesses around, and one of them was AM&S Calvert. As its name implies, it's in Calvert, Alabama, the very northern part of Mobile County. And I asked the people that run that plant, I said, what can I do for you? They said, you can do something to further improve downtown Mobile. So why do you care about it? Because that's how we attract and retain our young engineers. There's just something that basic. This council started this business improvement district. It has been an incredible success. We just ask that you would continue it, obviously take into account the points that these distinguished members of the bar have just raised to you. But we need to go forward with this and continue to improve our downtown. With that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Any comments from the council? Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.
Good morning. I am not a lawyer or former congressman, so I have prepared remarks to bring before you today. My name is Tyrone Fenderson. I am the market president for Synovus Bank here in Mobile. I've served as a two-term chairman as the Downtown Mobile District Management Corporation, and I'm currently an honorary board member of the same entity. I stand here today in support of renewal of the bid. And I'll say to you that nearly 20 years ago, a body in your shoes took a bold step to offer its initial authorization of the Downtown Mobile District Management Corporation. It was in 2005, I think, when the corporation was created to manage the Downtown Business Improvement District. Now up for, I think it's fourth renewal, past and present business owners, property owners, the business community, and the citizens at large are beneficiaries of the courage and vision your predecessors had when it gave birth to the bid. Our bid is young. And in terms of sort of the human life cycle, if the bid were a person, it would be 19 years old. A graduating high school student maybe, or even maybe in its first year of college. But at age 19, we can all remember that we had a very short list of accomplishments. And in my case, it was really short. None of us, however, were in our prime. Instead, we were prayerfully well on our way to maybe a more meaningful contribution to society. And in comparison, this teenager, the bid, has accomplished a lot. And like we were at that age, there's still much more ahead. I'm not going to bore you with the details of the statistics and the myriad of accomplishments of the bid. You all know them well. I'll leave the supplemental information for the professionals in the room. But I will say this, that the 79 blocks that make up the bid are in good hands with a dedicated team of people who wake up every single day focused on revitalization of downtown Mobile with a primary focus on clean and safe, beauty and activation, and economic viability. The bid understands this role as a placemaker where everyone can feel open and welcome, but also as a convener to identify and resolve issues that come before its owners and members. Through its steadfast charge and relentless focus, the Downtown Alliance is making a mark and making a difference every single day. America's most progressive cities have authorized and reauthorized in their own communities, not without initial trepidation, but each successive renewal has been in recognition of the value created by the bid and a reinvestment in what works. What was your predecessor's initial embrace of, say, an overwhelming hope to have a thriving place to live, work, and play has transitioned into a challenge of what can we accomplish? Yes, I think that is the real question before us today. Not does the bid work or serve its purpose, but what can we accomplish more through this bid? Mitchell Silver, who is the former chief planning officer for the city of Raleigh, was in Mobile a month ago or so and offered keynote remarks at the annual luncheon of the Downtown Mobile Alliance. And at that meeting, Mr. Silver charged us with, do not be afraid of big initiatives. And that's exactly what we must do. We must understand that investment breeds investment, and the bid is an investment that we must continue to make. Pre-COVID, our bank was in a process of repositioning in this market to better determine where we needed to be, and in particular where we wanted to plant our flag. We went on a march and a challenge to identify locations to whether we were going to build or rent, whether we were going to be on the Beltline or downtown, and we chose to come downtown. We're proud of the multi-million-dollar investment that we made in the heart of downtown on Beanville Square, and one of the cities in downtown's most symbolic areas. So we want to thank you for your time and consideration and ask you please to continue to support the bid. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Mayor, he left. He knew I was going to get long-winded. My name is Pete Blown. Many of you may know me as Panini Pete. Many of you may not know me, but I'm working on that. And I'm just here in full support of the bid. You know, I've been a business owner for about 13 years in downtown Mobile and a stakeholder. I own the building that's Squid Hingett's house. And I also have a new business in the Trustmark building, a food hall, parked at Trelore. I love being down here. I'm fortunate to travel a lot with what I do, and I see the best of cities and the worst of cities, and I love what's happening in Mobile. I love what continues to happen in Mobile. The bid is a big part of that. I'm a huge fan. And not just for the cleanliness and the art and all the installations. I wore Fred out for 2 years looking for a spot over here. And, you know, unlike a lot of realtors that say this guy's just a tire kicker, he took every call. He sent me leads on every piece of property that was open and worked really, really hard in helping me establish a business here. I also now own several other properties, not just in the bid, but in Midtown and Oakley and other things. And it's just been great to be part of the growth. It's been great to be part of seeing Mobile reach its potential. You need all the allies you can when you have a project in a city as big as this, and I think they're just a massive asset. I think to, you know, discontinue it would just be a step in the wrong direction, and we would go backwards. To continue it continues to move forward. So instead of hitting with all the statistics and trying to enhance any more of what everybody's already said, it's just a very positive thing. As a business owner and a property owner, I am all in on it. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Roy Duncan, and I'm the Vice President of Divisional Operations for our Gulf Coast and our Western divisions at Hargrove Engineers and Constructors. I work out of the Mobile office, and my home is in District 5, the Airmont subdivision at 662 Montcliff Drive West, Mobile, Alabama 36609. Hargrove was founded right here in 1995, and Mobile continues to be Hargrove's corporate headquarters. Approaching 30 years in operations, we are the largest engineering firm in the state with over 700 teammates across 3 different Alabama offices. Hargrove is also a significant member of the downtown community with roughly 500 teammates working out of the Mobile campuses. Hargrove has renovated several buildings downtown since 2008, including, we like to brag, 2 of the largest balconies on the Mardi Gras parade route, one on Royal and one on Government. Through our longstanding presence downtown, we have witnessed firsthand the growing revitalization of Mobile, and we recognize the important role the Mobile Business Improvement District, BID, has played in this transformation. We have clients visit us from all over the globe, and I will tell you, they are very positive in their comments about downtown. So this means we have a vested interest in showcasing our city and in Mobile's tourism and community development at large. Over the last 5 years, it's our understanding that BID has helped our downtown through cleaning up 201 tons of trash, cleaning up 170 tons of leaves, removing over 37 hits of graffiti. And these bid efforts towards a clean and safe place downtown have contributed to an increase of over 500 new apartments, an 18% drop in office vacancy, 118 new businesses. As part of our commitment to the community, our nonprofit arm, the Hargrove Foundation, we support charitable causes throughout the area, and we often work closely with the Downtown Mobile Alliance and other groups like the Mobile Chamber of Commerce. One recent example of our aligned vision with BID is our support for the renovation of Bienville Square. These aspects of our city are important not only for beautification, walkability, business success, but to honor our rich history and to shape our future. On a personal note, I have 2 daughters and a son who also work downtown. So all efforts to improve walkability, safety, and quality of life downtown are very much appreciated as a parent. In conclusion, Hargrove and the team I'm representing this morning fully endorses the extension of the bid for another 5 years. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds.
we've had quite a few speakers on this particular topic, and I appreciate all the input. I want to just have everybody draw their attention to the council's rules, where it says that there will this subject will be limited to 4 spokespersons on each side or against the issue. I'd certainly like for everyone that's here that wants to speak, but I would say maybe we reserve additional comment to presentations and petitions, which would limit the speaker's time to 3 minutes rather than 5.
Hello? Okay. Good morning. I'm not part of a giant organization. My wife and I, we purchased a home on 253 State Street a couple of years ago. And as you know, that's a...
Your name?
John Griffin. Sorry. A little nervous, but I'll get there. Anyway, we purchased that historic home as a single home residence. And I guess it was our first historic home, not realizing the amount of money it was going to take to restore this thing. And so we decided, by the way, I'm advocating for a modification. We decided to Airbnb out a couple of the rooms of our personal home to help defray the cost of the restoration of this home. We didn't realize that the tax would cannibalize 85% of our revenue. So essentially what I'm advocating for is some sort of an exemption for a micro business, a microscopic business, where we part-time rent out our rooms for half the year, and your tax is actually consuming almost the entirety of our revenue, which we're hoping to generate to just keep our house up. So in addition, also, we live in Detente Square, and the district runs down a single street of Detente Square. So in essence, what we're having to do is compete with other Airbnb establishments within the Detente Square, but only our street of the neighborhood is subject to the tax. So essentially, consider an exception for extremely small businesses where it's just a part-time thing for us, right? We're not a full-time industry. It's just our home. We're renting out our room half the year. So anyway, thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. President, can you give me your address, or the address of this location?
253 State Street.
Hello, my name is Melody Mastro, and I'm a business owner on 400 St. Louis Street, Precision Engineering. We've been a member of the Downtown Alliance since 2017. And I'm here today to say I feel that we're not getting a big enough bang for our buck. Our fee this year was $16,000. We've had a really big issue with trash pickup on St. Louis Street. I have called the Downtown Alliance several times about the issue, and I'm always told that it'll be taken care of, but it's not. We had I think it was the Witches Ride this weekend. We had an exorbitant amount of trash around their building with broken glass and so on and so forth. The gentleman that is responsible for 400 St. Louis Street, I watched him yesterday. He was across the street and picked up trash there, but he never came across to our side and picked up any of the trash. So we have been constantly going out there and picking up glass and trash and food and so on and so forth. So I really feel that that needs to be addressed, because I think St. Louis Street kind of gets a little bit ignored, but that's simply my opinion. And I just, for that amount of money every year, I can't justify that for just having trash pickup. Now, I realize you do Christmas decorations, which we do have some of those on our street. But overall, I just feel that it's very expensive. And I feel that there are issues as far as the trash that truly need to be addressed. What happens is they come down and they do the front of St. Louis Street, but according to the map, they should be going down Franklin Street, down that side and picking up the trash, but they never do. And I've called on occasion 4 times myself to have that addressed. And it's still pretty much the same. And that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michael Craven. I'm one of the owners of the Staples Pig Building in downtown Mobile. I think my questions or comments are all going to be focused on they're all economic, really, in the sense, and not too different from the lady that was just presenting. Just the sense of, we've enjoyed, the flowers in our area that showcases the city really well, at least in front of our street. The litter and the trash and that sort of stuff is well contained. The decorations and all, it's beautiful. It's really, it's great. But as a business owner, rent is not going up dramatically. Property taxes are, downtown development expenses are, just for us, both have gone up 2 times. It just makes it really, really hard to operate a business and not kind of start going backwards as far as your expected. You invested in the city, you did all that sort of stuff, and now you're seeing that just kind of get pulled out from under you. Yeah, I guess that's my biggest point here. We specifically have had 2 retail spaces vacant on our first floor for at least 6 years now. We've been marketing it, switching realtors, doing everything we can to try and kind of make it better. Like I said, this is purely an economic argument. Like if we could get those retail spaces leased, that might change the argument here. That might change my perspective here. But we have struggled to do it. I guess I think that's one of the key objectives of the Downtown Alliance, is to help bring businesses and retail and that sort of stuff. And, I've heard some anecdotes of where they've been successful in that, and I'm not trying to undercut that. I appreciate that. From our perspective, we haven't been on the positive side of that. In fact, I haven't really heard from the Downtown Alliance in probably at least the past 5 years, even though our place has been vacant. The early stages of us redeveloping that property, we did have some pretty close communications, and there was some talks of like, how can we help with this? But like as I read some of these economic development points of like, target incentives and lower vacancies and bring in retailers every year and lower vacancy rates of Class A office space to 10%, below 10%. I'm just not seeing any of that. For me, like I said, it's purely an economic argument and a lack of value in what we're paying for. It's just very expensive for the showcase of the city. That's my key points. Is any questions?
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds.
I didn't get your address. Can you give me the address of this location?
100 North Royal. 100 North Royal. Yeah, the Staples Bank building on St. Michael and North Royal.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Greetings, everyone. Reggie Hill is my name, 1007 Center Street. One thing I think is unique about this area is, and we've seen this, we've heard gentlemen speak that does not live in the area. I was born and raised in District 2, spent a lot of time in the downtown area, so very familiar with what it does for the city. But one thing that is very unique about this place, regardless of what district you live in, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, the one place that we do share is downtown. So what we need to be able to do, because of wanting to see the vitality of our city improve and move forward, is support that area, which I believe is going to have probably the most bountiful economic impact for the city, whether that's through varying events, whether through our local businesses or the attractions that come to the area. So it's very important that we are ensuring that the resources are going there. Nonetheless, this morning, the gentleman from District 4 spoke on the idea of fairness, and I don't think that it would be the best service of myself if I would come down and not speak on the totality of fairness that needs to take place in this. We need to see the exact same enthusiasm for some of those concerns that are not as pleasant that we hear in the downtown area, whether it be as what the gentle lady with the business at St. Louis Street expressed by not having the same access to coverage in her business sector, or even with the homeless issue that we're kind of avoiding here. We need to make sure that those things are addressed. And as we look at this, we mentioned this morning that we're probably going to go to the Finance Committee meeting for some other matters. I'm not sure if this would be maybe a committee meeting of the whole type matter that needs to be addressed or what we can do, but this is something that I think we need to look at as well, because if we go by the code, the churches, for example, that should not even be considered, just going by the letter of the code. And so that is a matter that was brought up again by people who've come down to this podium. So I think today we've seen quite a bit of the issues that are addressed, but we've kind of overlooked, again, the sentiments that were shared from Mr. Reynolds. And as well, we haven't taken time to look at those sentiments that are in respects to the homeless population. So if we can just take we can just take time to examine that, I think that'll be in the best interest of our city. Thank you on the floor.
Is anyone else present that would like to address the council on this particular public hearing? If not, this public hearing is closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Sandra Rackard.
Just 1 second, Ms. Rackard. If anyone would like to leave at this time, you may go ahead and do so at this time. I'll give you 1 minute.
You ready? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, good morning. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to come down here today. My name is Sandra Rackard, and I am the board president for the Richards DAR House Museum on North Joachim Street in Mobile. That is in District 2. Whereas on July the 2nd, 2026, our nation will commemorate the semi-quincentennial anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. I am inviting everyone here, everyone in the city of Mobile is welcome to come Saturday, November the 2nd at 9:30 in the morning. And we're doing this early because I have a lot of children participating in the event. We are dedicating a marker to the anniversary, the 250th anniversary of America's freedom at 256 North Joachim Street. We'd love to have you attend. And the city clerk pass flyers out to all of the city council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Preston.
Mr. Daves.
I'd like to thank you for putting this together. I'm unfortunately would be out of town. Otherwise, I'd be delighted to be there. But I think it's important that we
Well,
seek
thank
every
you.
opportunity to remind Americans of the.
I know. I think
the
it's
victory.
important for future generations to recognize the fact and know that there's a monument at the Richards DAR house. And so far, we're the only one in Mobile County. Now, there may be others in the future, but this will be the only DAR marker, which is Daughters of the American Revolution.
Right.
And I'd like to invite Mr. Carroll especially to come because it's in your district. I know it's short notice.
Yes, ma'am. I'd be glad to come, but this Saturday it has. I don't know how I can split myself into 9 different ways. I mean, there's quite a bit that I've already committed to.
I understand.
I mean, if you know Mr. Scotty, and he could beam me over, I'll be glad to come. You know?
Okay.
What time is it going to start?
He's with who?
9:30.
It's at 9:30.
Gina, I wonder if there was any way they could drop us off for 5 minutes. You know, with
I'd love to introduce you. I certainly would. I'd love for you to come and see the monument too. Even if you can't be there Saturday, you can stop by. It's in the south garden of the house. It's a big, beautiful bronze monument. Well, I gave you all the picture.
I've seen the monument. And
Have you?
Years ago at Christmas, we used to carol there.
Uh-huh.
And there's a antique baby grand when you come inside right there. We used to play that piano and sing years ago. I don't know if they still do that during
Oh,
the
yes, we do
season.
at Christmas. And our
So, I
Christmas
mean,
open house is the
yeah.
7th and 8th of December.
But
And you're welcome to come down and play our grand piano. We would love
I
that.
haven't done it in a long time, but
Well,
that's
please
been
come.
quite a long time since we've actually played in the DAR house. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was quite a happening then and quite the event. Matter of fact, you guys used to sing out on the steps in the open public. I haven't been to the event in a very, very long time.
Oh, well, you need to come
Miss
down. We've
Parham,
redecorated.
yeah.
Actually, the city owns the property, and they asked the DAR in 1973 to take it on and furnish it and show it to the public. And those ladies did a fabulous job furnishing that house. We update it occasionally, but the furniture is antique, and it's the only original piece in the house is the grand piano. And we're very proud of that.
Well, thank you for the invite, but I will try, but I cannot
Okay.
promise this weekend. We're awful loaded with
Well, I'll look for you. I hope you can make it.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Apostle Valenia Green.
Apostle Valina Green, 603 Delaware Street, Mobile, Alabama, the Down the Bay community. Good morning, Mayor's office and staff, council, the women that are represented here in leadership, the women in council office, and the mayor's office. Good morning to you. Thank you for your service. I come to you today to discuss 3 letters that I had written to council concerning asking for help for transportation and disaster readiness. Now, I'm asking for food trucks to feed in times of disaster because I don't really think you guys have thought about if the power goes out, what are you going to do? Okay? And if you're putting them in shelters, which I know some of the recreational centers are shelters, you're going to be able to prepare food. A lot of times with a gas stove, it's the electric ignition. So that gas stove is not working. So this is a vision that the Lord gave me because a storm is coming. Anyway, I've asked for operational expenses for the soup kitchen to serve cancer patients, disabled, the dementia patients, and the homeless veterans. Also, I have asked to be able to have money for workforce development, to be able to teach culinary arts to people to get off the street and work. Key component. It's okay to give a man a fish, but if you teach him to fish, then he can be self-reliant and not dependent on a governmental entity to support them. So that's one of my dreams. Now I'm asking for your support and your help. I've asked over in District 2, which I reside in, and my business is in, my ministry is in. I'm asking for your full support today.
Thank you.
Renita Smith.
Hello. My name is Renita Smith. The address that I'm going to talk about today is 311 Glenwood Street. I haven't prepped anything. I know I have 3 minutes. But what I want to talk about is I was trying to open up a new business in Midtown. I had purchased a piece of property probably about 4 or 5 years ago at 311 Glenwood, which is right there off of Airport and Government Street. The entire street is completely business. It's zone B2. On the corner of that business, which I brought a few things, on the corner of my street, about 5 doors down, there's a car dealership. And if you want to see that, it's here. So it's a car dealership. That's on the corner. Also, here's another paper for 308 Glenwood. I'm 311. This is basically cattle corner from me. So for the last couple of years, I've observed a car lot across the street that's operating. I've observed a car lot that's on the corner that's operating. I didn't understand that they had a variance to run that business. So I thought about it. I said, this would be very nice for me to try to do something with the businesses. I kind of heard a little bit with some of the other business owners going through the same exact thing, that property taxes are increasing. Like, we're really having to make a thing of these properties. It's not just laid back. You know, the numbers are astronomical. And I'll just say this, even on one property I had that used to be like 20,000, I think the county went up to like 100,000. It's unoccupied, not even finished. And they say, hey, this is worth 100,000 based on the comps in the area. So there's no leeway. We as business owners, we have to get out here and we really have to make a go of these things. So I started looking at this business that was across the street and on the corner. I started and I said, I'd love to do like a car lot. I've been into real estate my whole life and I want to try something different. So I went to the state, I got all my paperwork together. We come to this last portion and they say, hey, you need something called like a zoning certification letter to be able to do this car lot from the city. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, no problem. I go down to the city. They tell me I need to go to planning and zoning. I go to planning and zoning. And of course, we have to tell them our whole agenda. This is not you just walk in and just say, oh, let's do this. No, they need to know what you're doing, how you're doing it. And this is a place where I come in and I say, hey, I want to be honest with my city person. I'm not coming here I want to let you know I'm doing this is a real business. I'm not trying to.
Ms. Smith, 3 minutes have expired, but I'm going to extend you 1 minute. Can you sum it up in 1 minute?
Can you give me 2, please?
One.
So.
Go ahead.
I apologize, sir. So basically what I did was I went to the city zoning. They gave me this application that I needed to do. They weren't forthright with me as far as telling me basically what needed to happen with that process. It's an expensive process. I have $5,000 right here, and I can show it to you, but I know we're on a time. I have $5,000 worth of paperwork. The city's $600 and some just to start this process with the city. I told them I wanted to open up one. I got ran in every kind of circle just to find out that after I did some due diligence on my own, that they had given they had given the people across the street a variance for the exact same business. There was no transparency in this process.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Smith, for coming down. Yeah, but what are you asking us for?
Okay, so
Tell me what you're asking us for.
okay, so first of all, I wanted to ask if you. The first thing is, I know the city handles business, and they're concerned about the businesses. As a new business owner, I've tried to go through the city. I've done every process.
Tell us what you want, Ms. Smith.
I want the city to be informed of how zoning and planning is operating with new business owners. I feel that there's an agenda and they are purposely excluding me from my rights as a business owner. I have documentation. 3 minutes is probably not sufficient. I may have to come back next week and actually get this done where I can come in early and give you the documentation. So I thought that this was something I wanted to present to the board to say that as a new business owner that I'm being excluded, I feel, from the rights. And I wanted you to know, if you're aware of this, I actually have a lot of information. And also at the end of this, even though I've worked on this $11,000 to date right now, I just want you to see this one letter that this is the zoning certification letter.
Yeah, you can get that to the city clerk office, but I'm going to ask you one more time, Ms. Smith. I mean, you telling us that the city is giving all new businesses a hard time.
No, not all businesses. No. I'm not saying that they're giving all businesses. I feel that this is a personal thing, but I want you to see. I just wanted you to.
Let me ask you this question here, Ms.
Yes,
Smith.
sir.
Property that you purchased, does it have deed restrictions on it?
It has a B2 restriction. I went before the board of planning and zone adjustment, and they gave me a B3 variance.
My question is, the property that you purchased, it has a deed restriction on it, correct, or not?
What's a deed restriction?
Are you restricted to what you can do on that particular property?
Yeah, with B2 property, I'm not understanding. It's not that I'm being difficult. I just don't understand.
Did they ever tell you the reason why they denied you? Or
They did not deny me. They approved me.
Yeah, you received a variance, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I was
Right.
approved for the variance.
Right, and you had to get a variance because,
I had to get a variance because even though I saw the other business that were operating, I've come to find out later that all the businesses basically had variances. So most of the businesses are zone B2, but they gave a variance for B3. When I came to the city and I told them that I had this idea for this car lot, they didn't tell me that they had given the variance. So I went through the variance, they got me approved. But look at the paperwork
well, I'm wondering, you received your variance to do the
Yes.
car lot that you wanted to do. What was it zoned originally, or
It
what
was
is
zone B2.
It is zone B2, and you
Mhm.
got a variance to do the car business.
The car dealership. You cannot do a car dealership unless you have a B3.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Hold up.
Mr. President.
Hold up. I think that we need to just hear from the city attorney, but she can try to break this down as to exactly what's going on.
Confusing for us as
Mr.
well,
President.
so we need to.
Thank you.
One second, Mr. Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I hear Ms. Smith's concerns, and just for some clarity, she did receive a variance. She can, in fact, operate, as you all heard during pre-council, from an administrative standpoint, but she does not have the ability to operate by way of displaying cars. Now, Ms. Smith had an opportunity to present her case and her concerns and her requests to the Board of Zoning Adjustment on September 9th. They heard her concerns, they listened, they took everything into consideration. It issued its decision the following day, and she was provided with that information. So this is not, I hear the concerns. If she had a grievance regarding that decision, which was issued in a letter September 10th, then the appropriate forum would have been for her to grieve that before the circuit court. She had 15 days to do that. But the city council, despite what we're hearing, unless there's some other underlying issues that are going on that we can look at, but you all do not have, the city council does not have the authority to overturn the decision of the Board of Zoning Adjustment, and I'm happy to defer to council's attorney for any other powers that he may want to indicate as it pertains to city council.
And let me just say this.
One second, Ms. Smith, this time expired. So her next step is she needs to go to circuit court.
Well, unfortunately, she had 15 days to do that, and they advised her of that on September 10th by way of a letter. So those 15 days have expired.
Okay.
That wasn't
Ms. Smith.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Carroll and then Mr. Penn.
Mr. President, I'll yield to this. The city attorney has just stated my case in my statement. Council has no bearing of law or ruling here to overturn any decision by the BCA.
It wasn't about the decision. I was
Ms. Smith?
approved.
Yeah, Mr. Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President. No comment. I was really wanted to get the attention of the administration so they can kind of give clarity, and they was able to answer those questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Unfortunately, your time has expired.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank
I'll
you.
redo it again.
All right.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk,
John Young,
he's not present.
Amy Jones,
Good morning. My name is Amy Jones, and I've got a cheat sheet here so I don't get tongue-tied in front of all y'all. I appreciate the opportunity to address this group. For the past number of years, I've had coyotes come in my fenced yard. Now they're there most nights, caught on my security camera. The other morning, I had 6 in my neighbor's yard. It is my understanding that this has become a citywide problem. I have contacted every agency that I know of and no offer of really any help. My neighbors are seeing them nightly and have gotten some of their pets. I'm afraid for my safety as well as all the citizens of Mobile. Can you please share what is the comprehensive plan for addressing this safety issue to protect our citizens and pets from wilies in the neighborhood? I look forward to be able to go into my yard without worry. Thank you for your time and consideration. And could I get the plan? I know y'all don't want to do it here, but could I get the plan, or can you communicate the plan to the public?
Thank you, Ms. Jones, for coming down. And what I'm going to do is just ask, you can go ahead and have a seat, but I'm going to ask the out of the administrative service to go ahead and just address what the city is doing at this particular time. But thank you.
Well, we've been working with the animal services, and they have developed a plan where, for number one, it's based on education. They have been going out and meeting with people and HOAs on how to mitigate the coyote issue. And they also have a level of concern as coyotes demonstrate behavior that may be an imminent threat, or they perceive they're a threat to themselves or their animals. Then we are now developing capabilities to where we can trap and address those animals as they come apart. And I also have the lead ACO animal control officer here that can meet with her afterwards and kind of go over her concerns and how we can best meet her needs, what's going on with her community.
Where's your officer? Yeah, if you can, Ms. Jones, if you can just speak to him, you can go ahead at this particular time. You're outside and yes. Yes, ma'am. He will speak to you outside the door. Thank you so much for coming down. Madam Clerk.
Pat Law,
Ms. Jones, he's waiting on you. Morning.
Once again, I'm back. My name is Pat Law regarding 162 South Broad Street. I had to submit another claim with the city regarding some repairs that was made on behalf of the shabby job that Walton Construction Company did. They were awarded millions of dollars to do some of the construction on Broad Street. We have a beautiful, speaking of beautiful properties, downtown Mobile, my family and I purchased a historical property on Broad Street, and that initial issue caused so many problems of flooding due to the roundabout that was built in front of our property, the sidewalks, driveways that were poured incorrectly. So Walton Construction Company received millions and millions of dollars.
I'm sorry
on
to
this
interject,
project.
Mr. President. I do not mean to interject whatsoever. However, I do want to just make sure that I convey that Ms. Law was reminded of her obligations of confidentiality to discuss certain things prior to this meeting. And so if she wants to continue regarding the subject matter at hand that she signed up to speak on, that's okay, but just as long as she remembers her obligation.
Okay, I remember my obligation. However, I do have to kind of make a comparison. So in order to repair those damages that were initially done by that particular company, McElhaney Construction Company was hired. They came back out and did some revamping of the area to stop the flooding from protruding onto my family's property. However, when they came out, I submitted a complaint to the city, a claim to the city in regards to all of the dirt, the particles, the debris, everything that they had to tear up, dig up, drill, and you name it, to correct this initial problem, caused all of these particles, dirt, you name it, all over our property. So in submitting the claim to the city, Ms. Melissa Kennedy denied our claim. I reached out also to McElhaney contractors. They were rude in saying they weren't going to do anything in regards to power washing our property. I did submit 2 estimates that were very fair to the city via Ms. Kennedy. She said that she would give me 30 seconds to agree on whether or not to accept $500 towards the power washing of our property. I thought that was rather rude as well. 30 seconds, as if I were a child. So nevertheless, I'm here again to express the hurt and the pain and the concerns of how we were treated. Those companies have reaped the benefits, the harvest of the work that they performed, and they have created an ongoing situation for my family. That's it. So I just wanted to let you all know what is going on in this particular situation with the previous contractor and the most recent contractor that you
I'm
all
sorry,
had
Mr. President. I'm
Okay.
going to interject again because I think
I'm
she's already
done.
been warned once, and I'm going to just say it again for
I'm
the
done
second time.
talking.
All right.
So-
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
If y'all want to do anything about it, I think it would be the right thing to do. It's not fair for us to have to pay out of our.
Yeah, Miss Law. Yeah, I appreciate you coming down, and I'm sorry for what you're going through.
Yeah,
but it
it's been
seems like
terrible.
that this is more as a legal matter right now, and basically we're just gonna have to watch what we really discuss because it's a legal matter.
So where do I go from here, though? I mean,
I would say to contact your attorney.
okay.
And if I may, Mr. President, our claims manager is present. If she would like, you're welcome to step outside and have a conversation. But of course, we want to ensure that we follow what the agreement outlines.
But Ms. Law, as a citizen, just contact your attorney.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Reggie Hill.
Thank you, Madam Assistant City Clerk. To the citizens and stakeholders of Mobile, greetings again. Reggie Hill is my name. I want to start with the last portion of what I signed up to address, and that's the request for this amendment. They all deal with Section 2-62, and this is basically communications with this body from the citizens. I think we need somebody with the political fortitude who's going to actually amend this so that citizens get the 5 minutes again. We see with Ms. Smith that she wasn't allowed to even get all of her remarks off, and I think there's a lot that was left on the table that you all needed to know before making a decision. I'll get to the OPR piece in a little bit as well, because I think that's something dealing with Ms. Gates that Ms. Law just faced, and I think there's a lot of uncertainties that are happening within this. So let's get to the particular matters of this with this 2-62 communications with the council meeting. I'm asking again for somebody with the political fortitude to add this amendment, which would be creating an additional section to be 2-628-8, a written statement answering the specific questions asked and presented by a speaker at a council meeting from a particular branch of municipal government or city department relative to said questions shall be delivered to the citizen within 10 days. An ability to provide an answer shall also be delivered within 10 days, identifying the legal reason or reasons for non-disclosure to the speaker where such a response is denied. Such legal reasons include 1, applicability of the Grand Jury Secrecy Act. Number 2, pendency of an active criminal investigation involving the recordings that have not already been made public record or granted discovery. Or 3, any other irrefutably relevant legal basis under the laws of Alabama and or the United States for denying the response. This same clause should be applicable to written communications submitted by speakers prior to or after making presentations regarding the matter of specific concern. We heard last week from the city attorney saying that they needed something in writing. Well, here you go. I'm hoping that we can have this matter considered and addressed in this proper timely fashion. With the remaining time that we do have, let's look at this idea about the ARP. Do we have any update on that? We haven't seen anything in the budget. I'll make it very quick. Inventory. I was thankful for Mr. Woods, and the last time that an official inventory list came out that he shared that. We have not seen any update and nothing reflective of the new budget that was passed. Getting to the police impound. If something is going through a court matter, how can they proceed with the auctioning of a vehicle if it's still been taken up in court? Do we have anything that addresses that? Because apparently they're releasing vehicles and things are not even taken up in the court yet. Let's get to the OPR. We see the same thing with Ms. Gates, who was over this issue with Ms. Law, along with other issues that took place while Mr. Graddick was in position, and yet we don't have any idea if we're going to recant those things the same way that the court is doing this, and as well with this MHA, and I'm hoping that I can get this in. I asked last week, and again, this goes to what this amendment would look like, so we're asking at this podium we can get the actual answer, but we asked about the auditing of the resources that come down from HUD. Are they going to CDBG, Home, ESG? It's a couple of weeks that Mr. Roberts has not been here, so we can't get maybe an answer from that department, but if any of you have any information, we'll greatly be appreciative. We have to continue the next part when we can. Thank you for yielding the floor.
Sabrina Mass regarding ordinances 41054, 55055, and 57056.
Sabrina Mass. So I want to speak about this panhandling situation that you guys have. So what panhandling? So now y'all gonna try to get the police involved again? You're gonna charge these people fines? What's going on with that? See, first of all, if they will quit giving these unnecessary raises to people that don't need raises and help the people in the community that are homeless, that have no need of what they're getting. These people are in desperate need. So this shouldn't even be on a situation talking about a panhandle law. No, you're putting $500 million plus into a civic center for entertainment. You put entertainment before humanity. This city needs to stop. So there should not be any conversations at this city talking about panhandling or homeless. What do you want? What are you gonna do? You're gonna treat them like trash? Do you think these people really can help themselves? They need help. Stop using the city and the taxpayers' money for foolishness, unnecessary raises, a $500 million plus civic center, and no one telling where all the other money is going in the city. We're trying to figure it out today. Even with the financial report, it sounds like a whole bunch of blah, blah, blah. I mean, do y'all think we're really just not that intelligent? But you should not be sitting here as a city representative and administration trying to target and tag the homeless population. Not everybody is blessed like you and I. But where's the heart? Where's the compassion? Why not $500 million? Put it into getting homes, properties, to take the people from the street and give them somewhere to live so they won't have to be vagrants and live on the sidewalks. You have people even sitting in this audience as Mr. Overstreet sitting up there and others that go out daily, weekly, yearly, and have been in these streets trying to help these homeless people. We do our best as taxpayers. We go out and we try to feed the people with what funds and what money we have. So you guys have all the money, but you cannot put it into helping these homeless people. So this panhandling, whatever you're trying to discuss, it's just ignorant. You're here to help the citizens, not hurt the citizens. So when are you going to start helping the citizens? This is ridiculous and it's redundant bull. It's got to stop. And y'all need to stop thinking that the people in the city of Mobile are not woke. We're very woke. And I keep saying in 2025, it's going to be some stepping and some stomping and some seats getting removed in 2025.
Eric Jackson regarding ordinance 41054.
There. about the new bills. I've met with Kendall, and we've had great conversations.
Give us your full name again.
Eric Overstreet. I run Ryan's Refuge, and I'm a minister of homeless in Mobile for a long time. I would just ask today, I've seen the program, we've discussed it at length. I would ask how we can enact that program without the beds available. That's always been the same issue. Like, if we're going to offer them, what was it, a feather and a hammer or something like that, or a hammer and something else, I know, because I'm on the streets every day, that there just aren't beds to put them in. So if we're going to say you get the hammer or you get this other option and that other option is not available yet, are we premature in enacting these ordinances or laws, whatever they are, before we can even offer the other side? We can offer the hammer. I guess we can't even offer the hammer because the jail's full. So how can we offer them something that doesn't exist right now? And what are the plans in the future for making more beds available in Mobile? Is it okay to ask that question?
I would ask you, Mr. Young, if you can just speak with him and after this meeting and everything, and he'll address your questions there.
We've talked at length, and thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk.
Fred Renfrey regarding ordinances 41054, 55055, and 57056.
Good morning. And while I empathize with the comments made by the last two speakers, I'll say that this year, for the first time in the Downtown Mobile Alliance's history, panhandling, homelessness, and vagrancy were the top three issues. No longer were they parking blight or other matters. And these are obstacles to downtown's revitalization. The business community is frustrated by the aggressive panhandling and by the loitering at the patio cafes, and especially after courts have deemed that panhandling is freedom of speech. The city and the police department need more tools. While the ordinances may not be exactly perfect, we ask that they, we suggest that they're a step in the right direction and ask that you take them under consideration. So, thank you.
Frankie Little regarding ordinance 55055.
Thank you all for allowing me to speak. My name is Frankie Little. I own a couple businesses in downtown. Most notably, dealing with this issue would be Roosters on Dolphin Street. And I'm speaking kind of anecdotally to go in tandem with what Fred just said, which is as a business owner in downtown, we've been open almost 8 years now, and we've had to deal with the issue of trying to operate a business that and trying to think about the safety of my staff, my guests, and in dealing with an issue that is as old as civilization. I mean, just people that are on the fringes and have issues, and I'm very sensitive to that fact that there are people that need help, and I don't think anybody thinks that we're going to solve that today, right? But I think this ordinance does provide at least something for us to be able to try to think about the safety of our guests and our staff. And speaking anecdotally, just in the last couple months, we've had a couple major issues. In early July, there were two men that lived on the street that were on, drugs or alcohol. They were messed up, let's say. They got in a brutal, and I say brutal, very brutal fist fight right in front of my business at 5 o'clock on a Monday. Guests were in the restaurant. My staff was there, witnessed it. I have staff members that say they had mild PTSD afterwards. They couldn't sleep afterwards because it was very, very brutal. One gentleman was completely knocked out and bloody in front of the business and taken to the hospital. And the other gentleman was left there. My time is up. I don't know if I should go on or just answer questions. 1 more minute. Okay. The other gentleman, when the cops came and the EMTs came to help the gentleman that had been brutally beat up, he got sent to the hospital. The other gentleman was left on the scene, threatening my staff, yelling and screaming. Obviously, he had done the beating, but because the cops did not see it happen with their own eyes, they said they could not do anything, and he was left there. And my staff called me. I was at home, and they said, Frankie, the cops are gone, and he is still here after brutally assaulting this gentleman. And so I drove down, and when I got there, when the gentleman, I introduced myself as the owner of the business, and he proceeded to threaten me. He said he was going to kill my staff and come, and he's got gangsters that come shoot me and shoot my staff. And so at that point, I called 911. He moved down the street. The cops came. Then, I think they arrested him later that night. And then I filed a harassment charge. I found out he was back on the street a week later, and the other gentleman was, yes.
All right.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah. Any questions or comments from the council? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
James Williams regarding ordinance 57056.
Morning, my name is James Williams. My friends call me JW. Just have one question. We have a ordinance on the agenda addressing signs obstructing sidewalks, and my question is, what does that entail? Is it a total obstruction of a sidewalk, or is there any type of guidelines as it relates to people having signs out on the sidewalk? Just for general information, what are we looking at when we say obstruction of sidewalk?
Okay, then. And that's all you have, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to ask our public safety director. I'm sorry. Okay, but just for the knowledge for every citizen, if you can just tell us exactly what you had stated in pre-council, just hit on all three of them right quick, but the public would know. Thank you so much, Mr. James, for coming. And he about this one.
Mr. President.
Mr.
One question, and it just popped up direct before you stand up. The speaker before me made a good point, and I was trying to reread the ordinance in my mind. The aggressive panhandling, does it have to be witnessed by the police, or can it be reported? That's a major question here, because if aggressive panhandling isn't witnessed by the police, then we still have a major issue here. As to pronounce, the ordinance really doesn't get us anywhere. So how is that handled?
First of all, I don't mean to correct you, but it's aggressive solicitation. It's not the panhandling. And somebody just like a trespassing, if somebody is a victim and is willing to come to court and will sign a warrant, it can be done.
So the individual has to just call the police and say that I was aggressively solicited by an individual, and the police can then take action.
Correct.
Please, somebody needs to clarify it.
Yeah, on a misdemeanor, the officer has to witness the violation. The other option, that the officer didn't witness the violation, is to issue the complaint by the victim that was solicited.
So, in essence, if we're going to, in any kind of way, get control on this, then the person that was aggressively solicited has to actually file a complaint, the same as if though there was an assault charge.
That's correct. That's correct.
Then I wonder if that's going to happen.
Well, I mean, we really don't want to get into the tactics of how the police and the vice unit enforce these things, but it is enforceable.
Council, yeah. I'm gonna ask our vice president, which is the chairman of our public safety committee, to go ahead and try to schedule a committee meeting for next Tuesday, because I know there were some questions about how, or soon, there were some questions about the ordinance and the language, and then plus there seemed like there were some other questions and comments that needed to be addressed. It's going to take more than just this meeting here. So if our public safety director, if you can just get to, a meeting together and we'll go ahead and call the committee meeting. Just on all three of
They
them.
all pertain to the same, so.
All, yeah, but there's questions and comments we're talking about all three. Yeah.
What else do we have next week?
Resolutions held over.
Mr. President.
Yeah, Mr. Davis.
Before we leave this segment, I'd just like to say something. Every now and then we have someone come down here and threaten the city council or individual members with not being reelected if they choose to run. And I just like to say, everybody up here is up here. It has no financial or emotional interest in being up here. Everyone who sits up here, and everybody's over there, especially the mayor, all elected officials, are here because they care deeply about the city of Mobile and each and every one of its residents. Does absolutely no good to come down here and threaten us with not being reelected, because that's not what we're here. We're here to serve the people. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Resolutions held over. 01-1011, authorize Go Mesa grant agreement with the Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. 01-1012, authorize tax abatement agreement with Greenfield Environmental Multitrust. 01-1013, authorize amendment to agreement with Smith, Dukes, and Buckaloo for audit services. 08-1014 and 1015 are approving purchase orders to Emergency Equipment Professional for ladder truck and to Nomic Networks Incorporated for subscription to Nomic Insight Network Communications. 21-1016, authorized contract amendment with Moffett Nickel for Mobile Riverfront Redevelopment Project. 60-1017, authorized settlement agreement and release of claims. 01-1018, authorized agreement with Chris Francis Tree Care to provide citywide tree maintenance and removal.
So moved.
Second. Properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
Ordinances being introduced, 41-054 through 57-056.
Per council rules, these will be laid over for 1 week.
Consent resolutions being introduced, 37-1019 through 60-1030.
Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of these resolutions as read.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Rules waived.
I will call out 40, 1026, 1028, and 1022 separately. 37, 1019, 1020, and 1021 are recommending approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a restaurant retail liquor license to Tao Hot Pot Barbecue on Airport Boulevard, for issuance of a retail beer, table wine, off-premises only license to Wawa on Schillinger Road South, and for issuance of a special retail liquor license to Eminence Promotions Tough Man on Cody Road North. 40, 1023, 1024, 1025, and 1027 are declaring the structures at 1020 Alba Street, 1315 Brook Avenue, 2054, aka 2056 Bucker Road South, and 809 South Washington Avenue public nuisances and ordering them demolished. 60, 1029, and 1030 are approving award of special bonuses to the city clerk's office and administrative services employees of the month.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Mr. Reynolds.
I can't let the opportunity pass for our very own Victoria McGuire, who works in the clerk's office. She's been awarded this special bonus, and I want to tell her thank you for a job well done.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah. Mr. President,
Mr. Penn.
I want to join in with my colleague, Victoria. You have just really done an amazing job serving. Congratulations on your part-time employee of the month. I received the email just last week from a constituent. Matter of fact, she was here earlier today, Ms. Hines, just stating how wonderful you and Lisa are. And so thank you so much for your service.
Mr. President.
Yes, Ms. Woods.
I want to echo that as well. Yeah, all the emails, all the phone calls that we get, you stay on top of it. And meetings that we have, community meetings. You're the most pleasant ever. So my constituents love you. They bring weep praise on you. So I want to just congratulate you as well.
Mr. President.
Mr. Carroll.
Thank you, but may I address Victoria Lynn Bishop McGuire and say thank you for everything that you do. I mean, she meets everybody coming in every morning with a smile, no matter what. I ask her as a day that she doesn't smile. So thanks for all the help and everything that you do. Keep doing it.
And Mr. President.
Vice President.
I want to join my colleagues, Victoria, in thanking you for such a great job that you have done for us. And when I got your email, I started thinking, oh no, you can't leave us. But we will miss you. Just thank you for all of your hard work and for all you have done for us. The phone calls I know are relentless, and you have done a great job keeping up with all of them. So thank you.
And again, congratulations on your Employee of the Month. You will be well missed, and we will be missing the cakes that you used to bring to council meetings. Right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
40, 1022, and 1028 are declaring the structures at 611 Ivis Avenue and 2306 Dog River Drive North public nuisances and ordering them demolished.
Move to table.
Second.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item table.
40, 1026, declare the structure at 2377 Sansucci Road a public nuisance and order it demolished.
Move delay over 60 days.
Second.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item laid over 60 days.
CIP resolutions being introduced, 01-1031.
Per council rules, this will lay over for 1 week.
Resolutions being introduced, 01-1032 through 50-1044.
Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of Resolution 31-1041, with the rest of the resolutions being laid over for 1 week.
Second.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Rules waived.
Resolution 31-1041, authorize the mayor to apply, accept, and receive a notice of award for grant assistance from the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, $16,676.51, no local match.
Move.
Second.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed.
Announcements.
District 1, Councilman Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to tell everyone in the Trenton Garden community, thank you so much for coming out to our community meeting. Thank you to the administration. Thank you to the city council staff that supported that community meeting. Great information was given out, and we was able to answer a lot of questions. We will have another meeting in District 1 in the Volterra community. It's West I-65. And so you will get more information and you'll receive your mailers. I haven't done a speech in a while. But I do, with everything that's taking place in our city and the country, I just want to share this. As I approach 3 years as an elected official next week, I have taken the time to reflect on what I learned in this role and in our country political landscape. Our local elections are nonpartisan. And through this work, I had an opportunity to connect with leaders from different political backgrounds. Next week, we will head to the polls to choose whoever you like as the president, congressional representative, county officials, judges, and weigh on important amendments. But my heart is heavy when I see different things take place in our community and city, especially when we see things like a faith label on one party as the party of God and dismiss others. Faith doesn't just belong to one party. It's much deeper. There are people who love Jesus in every party, Democrat, Republican, and Independent. And you're absolutely right to support whatever candidate you believe in. but we all should vote what we align in our own values. But I believe it's dangerous to say only one party or one political agenda reflects God's love. So let's respect each other in this season as we go and vote other beliefs, and remember that our faith can guide us without dividing us. No matter where you stand politically, my prayer is for unity and understanding and respect in this season and beyond. So regardless, we have to work together to move forward. So let's work towards a world where love, justice, and peace is truly defining us. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Penn. District 2, Councilman Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to remind the citizens of District 2 that next Saturday, the 9th, the Harvest Fest sponsored by Ms. Harris will be at the James Sills Recreation Center. That's next Saturday, the 9th. Harvest Fest at the James Sills Recreation Center. That is the Texas Street Park. No other announcements, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Carroll. District 4, Councilman Reynolds. District 5, Councilman Daves. District 6, Councilman Woods. District 7, Vice President Gregory.
No announcements.
Your time have been very well spent. I would like to piggyback behind Councilman Daves, District 5, and Councilman Core Penn, District 1, about, being threatened with the seats. This is a job for many of us up here, not a career. We don't have to do it. Many people up here are retired, have their own businesses, and have their own jobs and everything. Pretty much I do this for the love. Matter of fact, this seat costs me to be in, give away my personal money. But by being threatened, this is a job. This is not my career. But I do love what I do. And as Councilman Penn has stated earlier about respect, no matter if you're black, white, Democrat, Republican, or independent, we all in this thing together. No matter if I don't care for you that much, you don't care for me this much, we have to work together to not only just move this city forward, but move this country forward and move this world forward. Do we have anything from the administration? All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? This means